Yes, my dear comrade. Yes, my dear friend. Rafiki yangu, rafiki wako. Cheers to you, man. I'm having a cup of, 4 o'clock tea. I think it's 4 o'clock somewhere in this world. Tuko riadha, my friend. This is episode number 80. And I'm with you. Speaking not in tongues, I'm speaking in the most popular language in the world. Is English the most popular or spoken language in the world? Possibly. Mandarin might be catching up. The Chinese language might be catching up. I have no idea how that works. Maybe the Latino, Swahili. Hey, hujambo bwana. Habari gani? Nam, nakusikia sana. Ebu nasa sauti yangu mahali popote ulipo. Hopefully the frequency is fluent. Frequency is fluent. I like that. Frequency being fluent. Hey, my friend, it's a delight, it's a privilege, it's an honor to have you on this platform of the untouchables, because I can't touch you, man. If I do, you must be close and intimate, and there's only one person I know that is that close and intimate to me. So, how are you doing? What do you think is going on in your soul? Forget about any parts of your body. Let's have a conversation with your soul. Is it at peace? Is it in sync with the rest of the body? Is it having homeostasis? Is that the terminology they use when everything is running on the same wavelength within the body? Yeah, I think we are all seeking that. We don't like the spike. We like to be that. I mean, the spike is good if you can bring it down and have that rest period where you can really find thyself. Talking of finding thyself, I think Shabbat is on the horizon. The sun is about to set. Our Muslim friends are looking up to Allah. The Sabbatarians are looking forward to a day of unplugging. The Judaic faith looks to Friday and they take it seriously. The candles are about to be lit. The food is being prepared, that good bread. Man, I remember those days, man. My mom used to bake bread in very interesting setting, an oven by the fireplace, and she would stick that bread there, and you could smell the aroma of that bread would just saturate the whole house, the neighborhood, and you know something special is going to happen. It's good. It's good to have those, what do you call it, nostrils, nostalgia. Nostrils, nostalgia, the sense of smell. Well, I hope you find rest, you find peace, you find love, you find an oasis where you can go this weekend or in every part you are and find a sense of being where you can be grounded and find thyself. Because finding thyself is critical in this day and age whereby I think everything is but there's still beauty out there. There's still an oasis. There's still a place of rest somewhere in the universe. I suspect there is, and I think the universe provides that. It's a matter of cultivating and being present. Hey, what about that? Cultivating and being present. Yeah, being present, man. You know, when you think about it, these days to have a conversation, to really have a true intimate conversation with anybody, even with myself, it takes a lot of discipline. Almost you have to work very hard to have that absolute presence and conversation with me and everybody else around me. Just being present. Because you can be there physically, but am I present in all senses of being present? That is, I think, is the biggest challenge we face, this presence, this idea of you are here and here now is where everything matters. That takes a lot of discipline. I think over the years, over the barrage and the revolution and evolution of our ecosystem, our capitalistic environment, we've been fragmented, we've been dismantled. I think we've been dismantled by the barrage and the demands of the outside forces to a point whereby it's very hard. I'm talking maybe for myself, I don't know about you. It's very hard just to be there and just be still. Be there and be still. It's very hard. It's almost like asking something almost impossible. It's almost like a discipline you have to learn. Yet, I think it's critical. Tell me about thyself sometimes. Honestly, I think we should be sharing some of these things at the comments, at the subscribing, at the viewing. I don't mind hearing comments from people, honestly, even if they're anti-views. You know, I have a view, there could be an anti-view. Exactly. Well, I want to travel to athletics. I want to make a landing in that sphere of athletics, because in that sphere of athletics, there's always something for me to share with you guys. The weekend is looking good. I suspect Beatrice Chebet is in Italy running cross country. I'll update you how she does. I think I'm proud to say that she's still my athlete of the year. I shared with you how Captain Faith Kipyegon the other day was still marauding and running away from animals, or the animals running away from Faith. I don't know who is running away from who, but she was sighted in the jungles or in the game reserves and the tourist circles of some parts of Kenya. That was good. That was good. What else is happening in Kenya? Kenya is a very interesting country for me. Right now, I'll visit there with some. I like to have what I call, you have to have a bigger view of Kenya, because if you have a small view, it takes you to a place whereby it's very hard to disentangle. So I talked about one time, I think last few episodes, this idea of misplaced focus. And I think Kenya is notoriously doing that right now. I think it's mastered the game of just shooting in the dark. I don't know how we got here. Our priorities are all over the place, even in athletics, because the other day, this cabinet secretary, Kipchumba Murkomen, as I say, he took a leap of faith. I don't think even he put ropes on his leg. He went bungee jumping. I hope he lands okay, because bungee jumping means you at least you have a rope on your ankle, then you leap into oblivion. Hopefully the rope keeps you up here. You can dangle from somewhere. This guy, this great, I don't know how great he is, but his portfolio in the government hasn't been looking good. The last time I remember seeing this guy, this leadership, he was at the airport, and he had gone there to inspect this airport of Jomo Kenyatta, and it was raining, and while he's saying we are working on fixing and modernizing the airport, the roof was leaking. And so when I say that is what I remember seeing of him, here I hear something that's fascinating to me, because I said the other day that they want the Kenyan government they have defunded the doping agency. The idea that has been monitoring and policing our athletes so that we can have them meet the standards, the global standards of being drug-free or dope-free. So they defunded that. But he came back, and this is the thing I've known about Kenyans right now in the leadership. What you hear is not what it is. I think they double down on their message, because the message has to be said so that people, the more you lie, by the way, they're learning from the best country and the new leadership. The more you lie, the more people believe that lie is the truth. So they talked about that, don't worry about the funds that were allocated for doping and testing and all that. But they are only saying this because really they don't have the money. And I think it's okay to say you don't have the money. Being honest, I think, is the best course of action Kipchumba Murkomen and the leadership of Kenya can take. Just say we don't have the money. The world will understand that. But to say that we have money, and then we are talking of the last time we checked the stats, which don't lie, is that the bank account went from 280, or it was allocated, and it shrunk to 20. You can't say 280 to 20 is that you have funds. You just say you don't have it. So here he comes again saying, oh, by the way, just to let you know, we have the funds for doping, and we are bidding for World Championship for 2029. I'm reading something here that is just, let's say it's dumb. Somebody, the ADAK chairman, Daniel McDwallo, who is the head of the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, it is what he says, that he warned that the agency cannot run its operations, having had the fund reduced to 20 million Kenya shillings from 2.2 million that they had. And the risk, he continues, due to the defunding announcement, Kenya became at risk of being declared non-compliant by the World Anti-Doping Agency WADA after the country's government slashed the budget. So, what are we doing to combat that or to change that trajectory? Oh, don't worry about it. The agency continues to say, we are at risk of not being able to host or send. So, are you getting my logic here or illogic of these leaders? Where, so we're cutting the funding for doping, but we want to host an athletic event that we don't even qualify, because if we are at risk of being non-compliant, that means the Kenyan athletes cannot compete. So how do you host an event when you cannot send your athletes to that event? It's puzzling. Maybe I'm overstating the case and trying to make sense out of it. And I think making sense out of Kenya sometimes right now is like you have to keep lying. I don't think I'm going to do this in this platform. I think Kenya is just a sham right now. It's a pariah nation from the top down. The bottom up has become the bottom is exposed. Bottom up, the bottom is exposed. I don't understand this. So the government is claiming that through the Ministry of Sport, the amount they had pledged to help to beat the doping menace in the country, and the fact that a few months later, like I said, they renegated on that pledge. So we have a government that just says one thing and does the opposite. And so so for me, it's confusing. Maybe you can even see from the way I'm talking, I'm confused, which is part of being a Kenyan right now. It's confusing, is a maze, I've equated Kenya to their public transportation matatu. If you haven't been to Kenya, trust me, if you try matatu as your means of getting from point A to point B, go try it. If you can get from point A to point B and you feel tranquil, you're at peace, you've mastered Kenyans' lifestyle and the way they run the world. Kenyans, I don't know why we thrive in chaos. In fact, we normalize chaos. And even as I speak about chaos, this is how athletics is being operated, in chaotic environment. And I think in chaos, the people who are smart in chaos know how to plunder the chaotic system. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'm just presenting a chaotic system that knows how to nurture. It's like Kenyans have mastered the jungle lifestyle. They kill, it's like here, survival for the fittest. Kenya is at the core right now doing that in everything they say and everything they do. I think I'm down that subject. I think I am, honestly. I think there's a wear and tear to talking about Kenya and how they do things. Their priorities, their impunity, their pariahness, their lack of ethics, their lack of transparency, the integrity is gone. I'm saying this as it is. Even when I talk of athletics, I'm confused, totally confused. What is what? One day you hear one thing, the next thing you don't even know what you are hearing. So maybe I might take a break from Kenya for my own sanity. Talking of sanity, I read something I've been talking about gender bias that is become a topic for me moving towards 2028 Olympics. Because every 4 years, we've come from Paris Olympic. I think it was it kind of captures the essence of Olympic spirit. I remember the opening ceremony and how some religious people struggle to see other people, how they celebrate their humanity. The fact that people think the opening ceremony in Paris was sexualized, and it was showing people in whatever you want to call them, in their diversity, in their beauty, in their humanity. People struggle with that. And so that was to me the best part, where people are being themselves and they feel safe to express themselves. You don't have to agree with them, but at least appreciate the beauty of humanity. And I think that's the spirit of Olympics. That's what I'm trying to say here before I enter into the dark side of Olympics. Because I've said this over and over again. The best epics, the best part of humanity is when we accept one another in love and just embrace and gaze at the beauty of it. Maybe I'm repeating myself because it needs to be repeated. Because when you start to overdiagnose or overanalyze how people should be and try to put them in this box or in this pure filtered system, what you end up is purging and genociding. And pretty much it becomes a place whereby you clone people to feed a certain narrative. Because there was a female sport consortium that was held in Canada. And it is a sports consortium that urges Olympic Committee to reestablish sex verification, it was put out of its effectiveness in 1999. I just look back at the history. I'm really passionate about this subject. You can tell I'm really reading a lot. But the other consortium, and this is what they say, the International Consortium on Female Sports published an open letter to the International Olympic Committee urging the Executive Committee to review and to reestablish its sex-based eligibility guidelines to restore safety and fairness for female athletes. There you have it. So I think this speaks to what I've been saying. 2016 in Brazil, with a Polish, Eurocentric-based or Poland woman, Joanna Joswick, yeah, what was her name? In 800 meters. When she said those strong words that I have said it over, and when that young girl, that blonde young Polish woman, girl or whatever, say that she was not competing against women in 800 meters. She was fifth. Yeah, she was seventh or fifth. She was fifth. When she said the top three athletes, Semenya, and the woman from Burundi and the Kenyan, Margaret Waboi from Kenya, when she looked at those women, and the gap was like a second between the winner, Semenya, and number fifth, I think it was 157, 155, that time range. When she looked at those women, she could only say that they were all male. And because of what she said, this has been now, the Eurocentric project has taken a new paradigm. The letter that I'm reading from the consortium seems to say exactly what she says, that we, the female, what do you mean by female athletes? When that's the definition I'm struggling, because the female athlete definition is European. It's not global. Because this consortium, they were targeting a few athletes. And let me tell you who they were targeting. First of all, they say Imane Khalif, the Algerian boxer, who I shared about being humiliated during the last Olympics when she won the gold against the Italian, and the way the hate, the intensity, and the barrage of hate that she got for winning gold was quite inhumane. And I think the other person they are targeting is the African women who they banned and marginalized and ostracized from athletics. This consortium is trying to seek to reestablish what is a pure race and a pure femininity. And I'm struggling with this because I think moving forward, I see a lot of this being the norm, whereby they're going to have parallel Olympics. You know, they say, okay, you're not a woman, you're going to go to a different Olympics. And if these, and Olympics, the spirit of Olympics all along, for me, has been this idea of inclusion and diversity. And here we come to the fact that this consortium is saying that, in fact, let me read you something that was very interesting to me. I don't know how to put this, because the more you read, the more you get depressed. Because they say the charter states that the athletes are entitled to participate in the Olympic sports without discrimination based on sex. Okay, that's where the charter is, the Olympic Charter, right? But the ISC asserts that there can be no greater example of sex discrimination than allowing a male athlete to compete against women and seize from them a medal, a placing, or even a chance to compete at all. It cites Roviel Detenado, a case who was excluded from Tokyo Olympics game because of the inclusion of a male-born Laurel Hubbard. You know, this is a complex subject. I have to admit that. I think sometimes I sound like I know. I don't. How the biological makeup of people is complex. Let's put it at that. Let's just start there. While it is complex, we are dealing with human beings. While it is complex, and science seems to think it knows everything for me, which is to me quite, is blasphemous. When science claims to know everything, that's blasphemous to me. That is playing too much God with science. And when science plays God, the people who have no idea what science is all about are always the victims. I've talked about Annette Nekeza, the Ugandan. Science intruded her body. She's suffering the consequence of that intrusion. I'm not saying science has no place, but when science plays God on human body and biological components of human body, it has crossed that threshold. It's not science anymore. It becomes another sphere of godliness. The reason why I'm saying this is because as complex as this subject is of who is who, to come up with a scenario whereby humanity is being denigrated and being dehumanized and being seen as less than, they don't belong. When we start to do that, the shift of all whatever we are talking about changes completely. And I think we are underestimating how this is playing out for me, thinking about it, because I've mentioned as much as this could be something that we can hang our coats, I don't know, our medals on, is it worth it really when you think about it? Is it worth it to go have surgery just to win a gold medal? In Mali, Max Miller from Kenya said no. She said, I'd rather stay with this body and the dignity of my body than subjecting it to science and surgery so I can win gold. That's a sacrifice some people will make. Some people will cheat to win gold medal with steroids, and they never get caught. And they get away with it. Lance Armstrong, for five wins, 5 times, 7 times, I don't know how many times, Lance Armstrong, the epitome of cheating, the god of cheating, cheated for so long with steroids. Okay, he paid the ultimate price at the end of it all, but he earned a lot of money from it. But here are people who they have their own God-given bodies. Are they cheating? Are they cheating? And this is, they are women. They have children. They see themselves as women all along since they were born. Somebody comes and says, oh, no, you're not a woman. Biologically, you're not, because we can prove it. So we're going to have sex verification, where we're going to be swapping into their mouths and they get their DNA and we look at it and we say, okay, you can go there now. You can use that bathroom because you are female or male. Wow. I thought we are past that as a human race or as a global family in the Olympics. We are not. We are stuck in the dark ages of the Aryan nation. I hate to say that because this thing has discriminatory chattels. It has slavery chattels all over. It has everything about these people who are not, they are non-white. If you look at what I'm talking about, if you look at Nigeria, you're talking of these Chinese or Japanese, South Korean, the data doesn't lie. It is South. They are looking at the South sphere of this global sport to weed them out. Maybe that's why the new face is the 800 meters artisan from UK. Norwegian, yep. Embersten is a new face. Maybe that's a face the Eurocentric wants to see. Maybe they're tired of the Mary Moras because they look muscular. The Serena, get out of here. You look so muscular. You're not that pure woman we want to see. Maybe that's where we are going. Now the White House is occupied by somebody who say they'll ban all, they'll just have two genders, female and male in sports. It's sad. It's really sad. It's very sad when I talk about these things. I don't think there's enough to be said. It's a complex subject. But at the end of the day, for me, I've always said this. If it has a face, it has value. It has integrity. It deserves love. It deserves to be accepted. It deserves to be included on this table, on this discussion. That was episode 80, man. Gender and humanity. I'll go humanity all day. It was me, Joel KKC. Cheers to you, my friend. Have a good weekend.